Hello, this is Sara Alessandrini. Today I want to talk to you a little more about episode 2 of This Is What New Yorkers Say. Episode 2 is where everything started. Back in 2021, I was following the situation in New York State. As soon as the first allegations came against Governor Cuomo, I saw how the politicians wanted him to resign, how the media was pushing him to resign. And I remember seeing this article that was saying that the 70% of New Yorkers wanted him to resign. So I couldn't believe that, so I decided to see for myself. Cuomo resigned in August of 2021, and a few months later, I decided to travel around the state to see what people had to say about him, the accusations, and his resignation.
The more women that came forward, it started even for me to seem like he was guilty, because that's how the news media was putting it out.
So I interviewed people from all walks of life. They have very different backgrounds. They're from different cities, different parts of the state. Some are Long Island, New York City, Albany, all the way to Rochester. When I showed the documentary to people, some like some of the people in the documentary better than others, but there is one thing that they all agree with, is that all the people in the interviews are really authentic and well-spoken. And I'm really, really grateful to all the people that did the interview for this documentary, and they didn't know me, and they decided to open themselves to me, a total stranger, because they really wanted to talk about this and they want to share what they had to say about this topic.
There was a lot in the assembly that didn't like him because he was a moderate. And if you look at the assembly today, the assembly is way too far to the left. They want to give everything away.
And for the media or for individuals for political reason or political gain, assume that a person is guilty, first, before they have the opportunity to present their case, is wrong.
So I want to read to you a few comments that people shared with me after watching the documentary. One person said, "They're smart, each with a slightly different point of view, articulate and thoughtful." Another person said, "This documentary captures the point of view of New Yorkers to whom I most closely relate. These voices are rarely heard. You capture the voices of people who have nowhere to go. They're clearly progressive, but not in step with the prevailing exercise of progressive movements and media at the present time. These are the New Yorkers who keep this place running. I love them, but they're looked down upon by snobs, big city journalists, and academics." So what I think is very different about This Is What New Yorkers Say compared to other documentaries is that usually when you watch a documentary, like you see an interview, you see a person talking for like 10, 20 seconds, and then it cuts to a different person. So you don't really get to know much about the people in the interview most of the time. And This Is What New Yorkers Say, it's different because actually it goes deep. Some interviews were 10 minutes long, others were an hour and a half long. So you really get to see the evolution of these people. You really get to learn more about them, their previous experiences, and you get to see a little better why they think what they think based on their experiences. So it's really different. And sometimes people ask me why I didn't record the documentary, why I didn't film with 2 cameras, because normally you get to cut different times. And I had a second camera, I just didn't want to use it because I wanted people to be able to see and to hear what these people really have to say without cuts, so that you get to see that actually what they're saying is how they said it. I'm not manipulating what they were saying in interview by cutting throughout whatever they're saying. You get to see the real thought. You get to see the evolution. And sometimes someone speaks for 2 minutes in a row because that's how life works. That's how people talk. Sometimes they speak long, sometimes they just say something that is 10 seconds long. But you get to see in a very raw way their train of thought.
I never know what a victim feels, okay? I can never say that, But I know how I felt when I was victimized, okay? As a kid.
So that's what I really love about this documentary. And is that really, you get to see the evolution, you get really to know the people in the documentary. It's not just total strangers on the street that say the first thing that came to their mind, although there are strangers sometimes found on the street, but actually even those interviews ended up being like 10, 15, 30 minutes long. So you still get to see their evolution, you get to see their thoughts on different topics, and you get to see how different also, how they evolve throughout the interview, how they change their mind on certain things.
I mean, and he has daughters. You know, I do feel bad for the guy. I do. I'll take back what I said before. I do feel bad for him. I think it was a useless thing.
I really love that about this documentary because it makes it very real. It's very raw. It's obviously there is an editing done, but it's, compared to other documentaries, I feel like it's more real, it's more authentic, it's more like a representation of how life works.
And I'm disappointed that our journalists spend a whole lot of time asking what people think. That's what you're doing right now, right? But I don't really care what somebody thinks. I would actually like to know what's going on. Is there science that I could hear about this? What's happening culturally?
So let me know what you think. The documentary is available on Apple TV and on YouTube right now. It will be available in more platforms later on, but so far this is where you can find it. So thank you for watching.